Hi there! So, are you excited for QuiltCon together? I know I am. If you're signed up to take my Trupunto shortcut class, there's some homework you have to do ahead of time. So, let me show you some of the things. So, if you've ordered a kit from me, they're going to be on the website very, very soon, hopefully this evening. The kit comes with some adorable little applique needles. It's like a sample pack, so you could try several of the ones that I really like. There are some little shapes to applique, and there's the background. And notice it's the Pantone color of the year, yellow and gray. Ugh, so 2021. There's also some stuffing, which we'll use in the class. This is cotton stuffing. There's some wool batting that we're gonna use. There's some blend batting, and there's some puff batting. So I want you guys to have the same materials that I'm working with, so you can order this kit. This kit is not mandatory. I'm sure if you're a quilter, you probably have fabric and little shapes and stuffing and batting. You absolutely can use your own things. But if you want to use what I use, order the kit, it'll be mailed out to you. So now that you know what's in the kit, what I'm going to do is I want to show you how I want you to prep your work before class, okay? So this is the sample that's in the picture. This is the sample that we're going to make in the class. Okay, so we're going to shift focus and come around a little bit closer, and I'll show you how I set things up. So you're going to have these little shapes. I might have already cut them into these circle sizes, but just in case I get overwhelmed with people ordering kits, I might just send them in as squares. And if that's the case, all you need to do is just cut them into a squircle shape. And so you just have to cut off their corners. It's really pretty simple. So after you get your little shape and the size you want it to be, you're going to draw your stitch line around it. So I just like to use just a Palomino Blackwing pencil. That works fine for me, and I can see it. That's kind of the key. So, it's less than 1/4 inch stitch line that I make here. Because if it's a little more than 1/4 inch, it gets really bulky. And you don't want it to be bulky. So now that we've got our pieces ready to go, let's lay them out on our background. So you can lay them out however you want. This is an ombre fabric that I'm sending out, so you'll get several different tones. So if you want to make it look like all the light is on one side and all the dark is on another, that would be really pretty. Or you can space them far apart, close together. You'll just need some spaces without applique shapes, because there's another technique I want to show you in the class. When you get them positioned the way you want them, yeah, that looks fine. You're going to use some glue. This is a Tombow school glue. I much prefer just regular old Elmer's glue, but I'm going to be honest, I have no idea where my glue is right now. Just a glue stick is fine. So you just glue it down. This Tombow glue is a little more permanent than what I like. So we just glue it down, and that kind of alleviates our need for pens, like pins, P-I-N-S, pins. So then you don't stick yourself as you're working. So stick your pieces wherever you want them. And the cool thing about glue is that, oh man, I hate this right here. I've got to move it somewhere else. You can just pull it up and move your piece somewhere else. It's no big deal. And this is washable, so it's not going to ruin your magnum opus, okay? So get your little bits stitched or stuck down. Let your glue dry. And then we'll get to our sewing. Now, let's talk about thread real quick. There's all different types of applique thread. These are called Superior Super Bobs. So they're little bobbins with really thin thread of just a myriad of colors. They come in 3 different ones. And sadly, these are kind of hard to find. If you can find these now, get them because they're absolutely awesome. If this is not an option for you, you should maybe try some silk thread. I love silk thread. It is so thin. This is a 100-weight silk, and this is a Gutermann 100-weight silk. When you applique with silk thread, it just kind of disappears, and it's amazing. So choose whatever thread you want to use. I'm going to use this white. Cut yourself a piece of it. Thread up whatever needle you want to use. This is a number 10 that I've got here. So you thread your needle, you make a knot, like 3 or 4 times around the tip, and you got a great little knot there. There's lots of YouTube tutorials for the quilter's knot. So if you want to see that slower, I know I have another video with it on. All right, so let's go ahead and start. We're going to sew this little squircle down. You can go ahead and pinch all around your shape. And that kind of preps your piece so that it's ready to needle turn under. And I really would prefer it if you guys would do needle turn applique. It'll make some of the future steps a lot easier. Don't use fusible. We won't be able to do this Trupunto technique if you have fusible on your pieces. All right, so here we go. We've brought our thread up from behind the piece, our little knots right there. We've pinched down our side. Now we're going to stitch. And you can use just a nice little whip stitch, like that. Or you can do this little technique, it's kind of like a little ladder stitch. You go in right into the background, right across where the thread came up, and then you weave your needle in the actual fold. And that looks really pretty. But typically that takes a little bit longer, so I normally just do a little whip stitch, especially for this project. I just want you guys to have this done so we can get to the fun part when class rolls around in February. And my cat has joined us. So here we go. So you just continue around your piece with these little whip stitches. Some of these I didn't glue down, did I? And you pivot. If you have this nifty thing called a lap app, it's this thing. It's like a stand. What I like about that is that it makes me have better posture. So you just drape the piece that you're going to be appliquing over the lap app and you sew. Oh, I hooked on. Jeez. Anyway, so I've broken my thread. I got it tangled on something. But that's what I want you to do. I want you to applique these little squircle shapes onto a background, preferably with needle turn applique. It's not going to work if you use fusible. You can do machine applique around. That's fine. But get at least 5 little circles sewn on your background fabric. And I will have these kits available on my website, tiacurtisquilts.com. The link will be below. Yeah, I can't wait to see you in February. Yay. So with needle turn applique, you use your needle to turn the edge of the fabric under. And then you sew it down with either little tiny whip stitches, like this, or a ladder stitch. I prefer a whip stitch. It gets the job done and it's fairly quick. You know, especially for this project, you don't need to be super fancy. I just want you to have a piece ready for when class rolls around.